Hi, this is Steve Lentini, Lord and Lentini, Training for Life. That's my business name. And this is Different Thinking for Different Times. And it's season 2, episode 25. Thank you all for listening, by the way, as the listenership continues to grow each week. I'm grateful. In over a year, I've made $3.50, and I'm not kidding. I'm not doing this for the money. Maybe someday they talk about asking people to sponsor it. Right now, what's more important to me is that I love to do it because it's a message that I learned the hard way. I spent 50 years inwardly seeming very happy and joyous, and I would say outwardly seeming very happy and joyous, and inwardly I was an angry, bitter old if you know what that means. And then on November 13th, 2002, here I was doing a sales training class. It was a repeated class I had twice a week. And 1 second I was fine, never had any symptoms. I needed an ambulance in the next second. And 5 days later, on November 18th, I flatlined. I'm not going to tell that whole story today, but I can tell you a lot of the different things I learned from it. What I did learn is that we had nothing from here, nothing from Earth was there, nothing that we think of. No religions, no sexes, no sexual preferences, no races, no countries. Nothing from here mattered. All the things, too, that I gave a lot of value to, things like houses and titles and books I had written and yada, yada, yada. I was always looking for something to achieve. None of that meant anything on the other side. And the infinite, when we go back to the infinite, as Deepak Chopra says, we come from pure consciousness and we return to it. We don't have what I call the acorn brain. We don't have any small-minded thinking. We're one with the infinite, which in that moment when I realized I was one with everything and nothing without a body, it was just a knowing that I knew I was back home with the infinite, and nothing small-minded or finite was there. Nothing. And there's so much we give credence to here, right? We want to stand up for our rights and our ego, and we're going to prove ourselves right and make others wrong. And it's all small-minded thinking. The infinite is not even interested in the darkness that we might have, because the only thing that I saw in my life review was the lives I had touched, the good I had done. We're here to make mistakes and fall down and learn and grow from them. And maybe if we don't, I didn't get to see this, but maybe if we don't, I think the universe has a sense of humor. We'll come back as all that struggle that we need to learn, all the lessons we need to learn. And who knows, maybe we come back as the thing we despise the most, right? If so that we can experience it. Maybe, I don't know. If we were against one race or one sexual preference or one sex, maybe we'd come back to experience that, right? We'd come back as the thing we despise the most. And, the life review, the good I had done was etched onto the fabric of time. So it's fascinating. We're here to do good. And how do you feel when you do good? Fascinating, right? To know there's a reason that we feel good. It's etched onto the fabric of time. Now, I don't know why I was given this gift to come back. In fact, after that life review, I was asked a question, stay or go. And my mind surrendered like I had never. My consciousness surrendered with thy will be done. That was the answer. It was okay if I stayed there or came back here. And I was 50. I had not spent most of my time present like that. And that was the other thing I learned, that besides small-minded thinking and nothing that we give so much value to here means anything, even our own opinions, our stance, right? There's some groups of people think they're better than others. They have the right idea. I'm not even going to mention a side because I don't care. I'm in the middle, and I could care less today because I know how meaningless it all is. In life here, we're supposed to learn to overcome our small-minded thinking. That's what I know. And that the divine, people go searching for God or the divine or the life force or whatever you call it, because it didn't have a name. Whatever you decide to call it, as Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, when someone asked him, what do you call this life force? He said, you cannot name that which has no name. So there I was, one with the infinite, only the good I had done mentioned, and it was in the now. So that coming back here, I realized the divine is in the now, even in the things that bug us, and especially in the things and the people that bug us. That's where we learn and grow. We don't learn from all the people that agree with us. Can you imagine if we were all the same? Life wouldn't be the experience that it is, and we'd have nothing to overcome. So, besides overcoming my own thinking and becoming an observer of my thinking that I had been working on before I had that moment, I had been studying the power of gratitude and some spiritual things. Not that I was on a search for God, I had an inkling that the divine or God, for me, I call it God, although it had no name, again, that in the moment were all the gifts. And then, of course, I would rail against them and lose that connection. So to be in the now is meeting the divine. As Eckhart Tolle says, when you fight life, life fights you. You're also missing the divine, the gift in it. And to look at everything and everyone that comes into your life as God in disguise, or the Buddha in disguise, or the Muhammad in disguise, the Christ in disguise, the Abraham, whatever you want to call this life force, it doesn't matter. Call it that and recognize that everything and everyone that comes to you in this existence until you're not here, which, by the way, I didn't know that was happening that day, the day I first croaked. Everything here is a gift. It's a miracle. And then to expand your thinking even further into the limitless, into the infinite, to be divine-like would be to learn that if you want more acceptance, for example, you give it. If you want more tolerance, you give it. If you want more love, you give it first to give what you want to get. I wake up now, every day is the World Series for me. First, I thank God for another day. And then I say, let me be a miracle for someone or a bunch, but let me be a miracle today. And that's how miracles have occurred in my life. I mean, I got a miracle. And I was practicing that, although I have to confess, back then, right, it was 2002, and before, it wasn't every day. I didn't always have that consciousness. Today, I can tell you, if you just wake up and say, let me be a miracle, you'll learn to embrace the little things that you can do for people. Maybe somebody will come to you to your desk and they'll need help with something that ordinarily you'd dismiss them or say, I can't do it right now, check with Mary. Maybe you'll be that miracle for someone, or maybe someone will knock on the window of your car and ask you for a few bucks for gas, and you won't care about the story when they begin to tell you, oh, my debit card. You say, no, I don't need the story. I'm here to help you. And you give them whatever you can give them, if it's $5 or fill their tank. Now, when all these little occurrences come that ordinarily would bother me and I'd get upset, that would be my first automatic thought, which I now know the automatic thought is the acorn brain, right? The small-minded, finite thinker. And fascinating, in there is me also as the infinite, limitless thinker, universal thinker, the life force, the divine thinker. It's in there. I just have to overcome it. And that's where we learn and grow in those moments. So now I'm so excited because to me, it's the life force, the universe, the God in disguise coming to test me. Will I just be in the moment and accept them as a gift, as a blessing? And what greater gift to give, right? If you're giving miracles, if you're being a miracle for others, you will get, in a cause and effect world, people will be willing to be miracles for you. I was in the hospital 60 days straight and 40 of the next 60. And after a few weeks, because I was not in my hometown, I was an hour away. As people heard about my hospitalization, A, many came to visit, but B, I got $24,000 in the mail. Now, all of that episode was more costly when you think of I didn't work for 6 months. After I got out of the hospital, right, there was, besides that 100 days, it was another three months or so in the unable to work. But I can tell you The $24,000 was amazing. Every time I opened up an envelope, it was just amazing to me. I would say, "Thank you, Lord." I remember the receptionist coming in the first hospital. I was in 2 hospitals, 5.5 weeks in the first hospital. I remember this receptionist coming to see me and said, "Are you famous?" And I said, "No, I'm curious. Why do you ask?" She said, "Oh, so many people call to ask about you, and there's so many gifts that come, and so many people come to see you." She said, "I was just curious." We live in a miracle. We have to remember that. We live in a universe, something that even though physicists think they're getting closer, we're probably today as far off as the Incas and the Aztecs were as they were sacrificing babies and princesses to the gods. We're probably that far off. We live in something truly amazing. It's truly a miracle that can bring a new level of joy to your life. That you make the decision first to be happy. Life is best lived from the inside out. Make that decision first and make the decision instead of expecting others to make you happy that you're going to make others happy. Just make that decision that you're going to live from the inside out, not expecting anything to make you happy, but just to be happy. Truly, nothing was mentioned of all the things that I was striving for and pushing for and nearly burned my body out. I have less than 10% of my pancreas remaining today. Never any symptoms. I wasn't a heavy drinker. That's the first thing they ask you, "Are you an alcoholic?" No. I had a blockage and still do in my pancreas, but yet I'm a walking miracle. Everything works perfectly, which again reminds me every day that I live in a miracle. I'm a walking miracle, and I want to be a miracle for others. And it adds such a level of joy to my life. I can't wait to wake up every day. Does it happen 100% of the time? No, the acorn brain is still active, that small-minded thinker. Ask yourself when that thinking comes along and you want everybody to agree with you, you're railing against those who just don't see it your way, especially we see that today. It doesn't matter what side you're on, but it's ridiculous thinking. Who's the thinker of the thought? Why let it upset you? All relationships are an invitation to negotiate and compromise. And that's really what we have to do is hear other people, find out why they feel the way they do. That's what makes this country in particular great because we have free speech. Let other people speak. Whatever side they're on, it doesn't matter. Whatever issue and stance they take, it doesn't matter. You could die tonight. I hope you don't. You could die while I'm recording this. I hope you don't. There is no such thing as death. We should call it what's next. Live with faith and not fear. Have some joy. And you'll not know when the moment comes, because I didn't. But just let that allow you to live in the now, in the moment, knowing that everything in it is divine. Thank you. Any questions? Steve@stevelentini.com. Email me, steve@stevelentini, LENTINI.com. If you'd like to be interviewed for the podcast, love to have you do it. You could even come with a different point of view. You could say, "No, I'm living in hell, Steve." I say, "Okay. All right. It might be small-minded. Does it sound small-minded?" Those are the questions I ask people. If it sounds small-minded, it's not from the miracle creator that created this. And I say, whoever created this, for me, it's God because it's just simple. And I didn't get that. There was no mention of religion. Like, you're not the religion, Steve. There was no mention of religion. Only the lives I had touched, the good I had done, the differences I made here. And that's what I want to encourage people to do. Do good, make a difference, and see how you feel. Do it for 6 months and then call me. Or do it for 3 days or a week and call me. See if it makes a difference in your life. I bet it will, but I want you to prove that to yourself. Don't take my word for it. Steve at stevelentini.com. Remember, we live in a miracle. Recount all the things each day you're grateful for and all the miracle people and things, even those that bugged you and came to move you. They were all a gift. Thanks again. Till next time.